Hello, and welcome to yet another week of technology leadership in education. In today's video presentation, I am going to examine a major challenge to technology leadership in my own professional context, which up until this point has been the K 12. These are going to be the presentation outline. Of course, I will ground our conversation in two critical national benchmarks published this year. I will focus on the Coscience Driving K-12 Innovation Report and the U.S. State of the EdTech 2026 report. After doing so, I will then move from the broad national picture and zoom directly into the specific local challenges and then offer some actionable leadership response. Before I move on to, dive a little bit deeper into the challenges plaguing the national and the local context, I would like to provide an overview of the Co-Science Driving K-12 Innovation 2026. So the report organizes the national landscape around three areas. We have the hurdles, accelerators, and technology enablers. For the purpose of this presentation, I wouldn't dive deeper into accelerators and tech enablers. I would pay much attention to the hurdles because they actually unravel and captures where the challenges are coming from and the intensity of these challenges with numerical or metric breakdowns. So the hurdles are attracting and retaining educators and IT professionals, ensuring cybersecurity and safety online, and building critical media literacy. From this, you can infer that these are not just small issues. Instead, they show that schools are struggling not only with technology itself, but with staffing, trust, safety, and students' ability to judge information in this kind of world, which is AI driven. Well, the accelerators essentially suggest that the future of technology leadership is not only about having better tools, but about developing people, the human capacity who can use these tools wisely. And the tech enablers are like tools and they offer to create possibilities for learning and decision making. So, what are the key issues, the trends, and the challenges to technology leadership? Well, the national picture after going through the U.S. State of the EdTech report, and this report is based on 607 responses from U.S. school system education technology leaders, and it shows that today's edtech leaders are not responsible only for infrastructure the way we knew in the past, but also for instructional support, student data protection, innovation, and family or community engagement. And as you can see on the screen, I quoted this from page two. It tells us how the work and the responsibility of a tech leader has evolved. It also provide some key and critical areas where um, you know there are like long-standing issues. So it's we have artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, connectivity, staffing, procurement, and device management. But after my engagement with the text, I came up with top three hurdles or priorities for K-12 technology leaders. So the first one is, of course, cybersecurity and data privacy. This remains the number one priority, even nationally. Threats are growing increasingly sophisticated due to AI enabled attacks, Yet statistically, 65% of districts report that they are understaffed in cybersecurity and lack dedicated budget. Again, generative AI or artificial intelligence has evolved from a stance of uncertainty to targeted execution. Currently, 79% of districts have established guidelines for AI use. It's jumped from 57% in 2025 to 79%, which means people are accepting of artificial intelligence. Leaders are now highly optimistic about AI's potential to boost administrative productivity and personalized education. Critical media literacy. This was one of the list when I was talking about hurdles. So being listed on the cosines hurdles for the first time highlights that there is a global urgency. As deepfakes and AI generated content inundates the digital world, students need strong metacognitive skills to distinguish authentic information from falsehoods. Yeah, so how do I contextualize this to K 12, of which I find it very interesting? Well, for my selected context, I am focusing on Louisiana K 12. I'm going to draw from the work that I did in Module 1, Module 2, and Module 3, which I analyzed Louisiana EdTech Plan and the LEOEAI guidance. So this is where I found some challenges that resonate with the the text used this week. So I believe that the biggest challenge in technology leadership is explicitly and obviously not hardware procurement, but the significant human capacity gap between technology deployment and instructional use. There are lots and lots of AI guidance documents, technical sufficiency, but still there is a gap as to the implementation of these policies. When you look at this nationally, 66% of district report having adequate or even overstaffed teams to handle baseline technical support like applications and maintaining networks. Locally, in the Louisiana context, network remains stable. It's not an issue. And there is a deployment of 1:1 devices across every school. However, at the national level, statistically, 58% of districts face ongoing staff issues or shortages in instructional support roles, those critical personnel who help teachers effectively incorporate technology into their instruction. And without these people, even expensive software license and platform subscription are often underused, therefore jeopardizing the return on our educational technology investments. How the local challenge reflect, extend, or differ. So this what I call bottleneck perfectly reflects the macro trend outlined in the US State of the EdTech 2026 report that globally 52% of technology leaders cite a severe lack of teacher training for integrating AI into daily instruction as a primary concern. A lot and lot of people do not have the training in order to use AI. And that is absolutely true because locally in the Louisiana context, educators are eager to leverage generative AI to combat burnout, yet, and I'm stressing on the yet, they lack a structured professional learning roadmap. Again, one challenge locally reflect the national data governance struggles. And I'm going to share this real quick that 62% of tech leaders are deeply concerned about student data privacy. When local teachers try to introduce new, unapproved digital tools, they often encounter delays caused by compliance procedures. And this becomes very difficult because the every organization may face as such like the second major national challenge, that is the ongoing presence of defa- departmental silos, which have historically kept technology and technical IT teams separate from curriculum and instructional design planning. I'm going to talk about the how it extends to how the local context extends the national one. So the cosine report highlights that a key challenge for modern educators is managing and expanding digital environment without imposing excessive barriers on teachers. I believe this is a conflict because even more pronounced locally as district requirement for an extensive IT review before approving any digital tool causes delays. These bottlenecks lead well-meaning teachers to adopt unapproved software quickly, often without proper vetting. And nationally, 14% of districts admit that they have no process for vetting free tools at all. We show that even when a process exists, it is if it's not flexible enough for instructional need, it creates security risk, thereby forcing teachers to bypass the safeguards to keep their classroom activities on track. How it differs is that it is crucial to identify where the Louisiana context differ from the national story. While annual report often cite budget limits and resource shortages as the main obstacle to technology planning, the Louisiana context is different. The main challenge is not the funding, but time and culture shift. Hardware infrastructure is robust, is good, thanks to established procurement cycles, and Louisiana can boast of 1:1 student to device ratio. As a result, the leadership focus must shift from financial issues to fostering a culture change. That is aligning with the cosines 2026 bridge theme. And it says culture change is greater than technical change. The task now is to create an organizational environment where professional development is viewed as an essential component of sustainable digital integration, not just a compliance formality. So, what makes this challenge even complex? Well, we have different layers. So, for the technical and security layer, the what makes it complex here is managing the threat of advanced AI-enabled cyber attacks while trying to expand to access. The instructional or human layer here is combating pervasive teacher burnout by protecting time rather than overloading them with new tech tools. The ethical or policy layer here is mitigating major anxiety surrounding student data privacy and biased AI training models. And lastly, the financial or procurement layer. What makes it difficult is navigating rising cyber insurance premiums and software license costs without emergency funding. Yeah, so throughout the presentation, I provided few statistical breakdowns of these challenges, but I think I have three of the most important ones, which have to do with insufficient staffing. So 65% cybersecurity, 58 for instructional tech support, and 34% core technical support. I'm not going to go deeper into this as I have already shared that in context. So, students, classroom teachers, and technology leaders are the stakeholder impact here. Students are at significant risk, as we know. They risk suffering from a widening digital divide and a severe lack of baseline AI workforce readiness. Teachers are also trapped between community pressures regarding screen time and a lack of support for tools design, and technology leaders have to bear the ultimate operational burden of data breaches, silos, and compliance procedures. Yeah, and to offer my leadership response, I think my proposed leadership response begins with immediate structural and policy modifications. So, first, we must deliberately execute the recommendation to dismantle district silos so we can follow the national best practices, right? And but in doing so, we must establish a unified data governance committee that intentionally blends network administrators, curriculum directors, building principals, and frontline teachers. We cannot do this work in isolation. We need to bring them together. But this committee will also implement an explicit streamlined application vetting procedure. So, lack of a better term, instead of an intimidating, slow moving technical roadblocks, this pipeline will provide an approved library of safe digital tools. Professional learning is also very important here. It should not be a one big AI workshop for everyone. Teachers need examples from their own subject areas. What I would term as professional learning should be subject specific. Students should not just be told do not cheat. They should be taught how to use AI responsibly. And students need simple AI literacy routines. They should learn how to question AI outputs, verify information, disclose AI use, and etc. And lastly, finally, leaders need communication and evaluation. Families should know that what tools are used, how student data are protected, and how AI support learning. Districts should also evaluate teacher confidence, student AI literacy, accessibility, privacy incidents, and whether AI is actually improving learning. These are my references in case you would want to read more about the information I shared. Let me know if you have any questions, any constructive feedback, any suggestions, and I will be here to answer. Um, Thank you. Don't forget to shoot me an email or view my website. And until then, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.